Welcome back to the False Prophet channel, and this is Brother Jacob, and this is the False Prophet channel where we get Islam destroyed and the false prophet of Islam, Muhammad, destroyed on a regular basis. In today's video, we will be once again destroying Muhammad for the stupidity that he speaks, and we will be destroying Allah for the stupid God that he is, and we will be showing how the Muslim claim that Israel belongs to Palestine and not the Jews. We will be getting that claim destroyed, and we will be showing you how Allah is a two-faced God, meaning 1 minute he's on the side of the Jews, the next minute he's on the side of the Muslims. So Allah needs to make his mind up. And we're going to show you how this hadith conflicts with what's in the Quran. Well, it doesn't really conflict, but it exposes Islam and it exposes everything that the Muslims say about the Jews. Because recently it's been a movement, a free Palestine movement, and the Palestinians, like always, they burning the flags of Israel and always have a sob story, and they always telling us that Israel is occupying the land. But in this hadith, we're going to show you how the Muslims are telling lies. And we're going to show you how Allah himself confirms that Israel belongs to the Jews. So without further ado, let's begin. Abu Hurairah reported Allah's messenger as saying, "The last hour would not come unless the Muslims will fight against the Jews, and the Muslims would kill them until the Jews would hide themselves behind a stone or a tree, and a stone or a tree would say, 'Muslim' or 'the servant of Allah.'" Which one is it, Muhammad? Are they going to say Muslim or are they going to say the servant of Allah? We need you to get your story together, Muhammad. "There is a Jew behind me. Come and kill him." But the tree guard cat would not say it, for it is the tree of the Jews. Now, we're about to highlight the part of this hadith that gets the Muslims' claim that Israel belongs to the Palestinians destroyed. Notice what it says. The tree guard cat would not say, "There is a Jew behind me, come and kill him, for it is the tree of the Jews." Uh-oh, Abdul. Now this right here destroys the Muslims' claim that Israel belongs to the Palestinians. And here is why. Because, let me give you all an example. If I purchase property from someone, that means everything on that property belongs to me. All of the grass that grows from the land, all of the trees that grows from the land on that property, it belongs to me. So that means me being the owner of the property, I have the right to cut the grass whenever I feel like. I have the right to chop down the trees whenever I feel like. But if I walk upon somebody else's property, I don't have the right to chop down someone else's trees, nor do I have the right to cut someone's grass without their permission, because that is their property and not the property of Brother Jacob. Does everybody follow me so far? Now, so when Allah said that the Garkat tree is the tree of the Jews, he destroyed the Muslims' claim that Israel belongs to the Palestinians. And here is why. Because just like in the example, if property does not belong to me, then I can't claim ownership to any trees on the property. Boom! Busted. So this hadith, stupid Muhammad, he didn't realize he was giving the land away. And this is one of the hadith that the Muslims, they love to quote. You know, all of the Muslim terrorists like ISIS and Hamas and Hezbollah, they love quoting this hadith. Muslims like Muslim Cheerleader and his little coward Muslim warrior channel, he is far from a warrior. And you know what? I challenge you, Muslim Cheerleader, to refute this video. Get me busted. All of you Muslim Cheerleader flunkies who be flooding our comment section, talking that nonsense, come and get us busted. We ready. Because this hadith right here, it destroys the claim that Israel belongs to the Palestinians. Now back to what I was saying. When you have, Allah says that the Garkat tree is the tree of the Jews. And guess what, everyone? The Garkat tree grows in Israel. So that means the land belongs to Israel. Because just like in the example, I can't walk upon someone else's property and claim a tree on someone else's property, because the property does not belong to me. But if I own the property, I can say, you see those trees? They belong to me. No one can chop those trees down. No one can pick apples from my trees because the trees belong to me. So likewise, in this hadith, Allah gives ownership to the land because he is saying these are the trees of the Jews. And the trees grow on the property of the Jews, the Garkat tree. Therefore, the land belongs to Israel. Boom! It's common sense, Muslims. And you know what? Muslims, they've been seeing this hadith all of their life. And that probably never even rung a bell in their head. Because they just that stupid to where they will look at something just like they read the stupid Quran over and over. And how can you bypass all of the contradictions in the Quran? Like, you got to be stupid or stupider to not see it. It don't make sense to me, because clearly this gives the land away to Israel. Because Muslims, you can't claim land that has ownership of the Jews written all over it. Allah said the Garkat tree belongs to the Jews. And where does the Garkat tree grows? It grows in Palestine. It grows in Israel. Therefore, the land belongs to the Jews, Muslims. The Palestinians can't say the land belongs to them and at the same time say the trees on the land belongs to the Jews. That don't add up. So their own God devastates the claim that they make. But we just getting started. We are just getting started. Muslims, we are just getting started. Now, everyone, I want you to direct your attention to Surah 7, verse 57 through 58. Now let's read. And we are about to prove to you, using the Quran, that the Garkat tree that we just got finished reading about, this tree belongs to the Jews, its own Jewish property. So therefore, the Palestinians, the Muslims, they can't claim Israel, because you can't claim a land where trees belong to someone else. Because if it belonged to you, then everything on that property would belong to you. That's how it works. Like the example that I gave. Now we are about to use the Quran to get them busted and to prove that Allah is a two-faced God and he is on the side of the Jews. And we're going to break this down very methodically and show you how none of these Muslim claims make sense. Now let's begin. Surah 7, 57 through 58. And it is he who sends the winds. Now, who is the he? Allah. Now, it is he who sends the winds as good tidings before his mercy until when they have carried heavy rain clouds, we drive them to a dead land and we send down rain therein and bring forth thereby of all the fruits. Thus will we bring forth the dead. Perhaps you may be reminded. So thus far, we see that Allah is the one who sends the blessed rains. Allah is the one responsible. He sends the winds as good tidings. Okay? So as you see, Allah is the one sending these good tiding winds, and he's sending his mercy by way of the rain, and he is allowing it to pour down. He is blessing this Jewish tree, this Garkad tree. I'm telling y'all, we about to go in and do work. We about to get these Muslims busted. Okay, this is a two-faced God that these Muslims worship. Okay, now, and it says, we drive them to a dead land. He's speaking about the rain clouds. And we send down rain therein and bring forth thereby of all the fruits. Thus will we bring forth the dead. Perhaps you may be reminded. Now it says perhaps. So Allah is saying perhaps. He don't know. Like Allah don't know. He said perhaps. And in the hadith, Muhammad said the Muslim's tree may say Muslim or servant of Allah. There is a Jew hiding behind me. So we need Allah and Muhammad to get their story together. You see how Allah is saying perhaps. Perhaps mean it's up in the air. Like maybe you will, maybe you won't. You see how this God and his prophet, they never for certain about anything. But be that as it may, let's continue. Now, on to verse 58. And the good land, its vegetation emerges by permission of its Lord. But that which is bad, nothing emerges except sparsely, with difficulty. Thus do we diversify the signs for a people who are grateful. Okay, so what have we unpacked thus far? Now, thus far in Surah 7, 57, 58, we have shown that Allah is the one responsible for sending the good tidings, who sends the winds as good tidings before his mercy. And he is the one responsible for sending the rain clouds to rain upon the vegetation. And in 58, it says, and the good land, its vegetation emerges by permission of its Lord. But that which is bad, nothing emerges except sparsely with difficulty. Thus do we diversify the signs for a people who are grateful. So in this verse, in verse 58, Allah is telling us that he allows the good land, he allows the vegetation to emerge. But I want y'all to notice something. In this same verse 58, Allah says, but that which is bad, nothing emerges. Speaking about the bad land. Nothing emerges except sparsely with difficulty. Thus do we diversify the signs for a people who are grateful. So in 58 and 57, Allah is confirming that the Garkad tree is a good tree. It's a good tree because as you see, it says, and the good land, its vegetation emerges by permission of its Lord. So that means Allah assigned a good tree to the Jews. And this good tree, it emerges by permission of its Lord. But hold up, it's a Jewish tree. So the Lord of this Jewish tree, it gets permission from Allah, and it's a Jew. It's a Jewish tree. This tree, this Garkat tree, it didn't assist the Muslims in giving away the hiding place of the Jews. It didn't say, there is a Jew behind me, come kill him. So the Muslims can't say this Garkat tree is a bad tree and that it's doing a bad thing by not giving away the hiding place of the Jews, because according to 58 and the good land, its vegetation emerges. So the very fact that this Gargad tree emerged, that means it's good. It's from the good land. But hold up, I thought it's the Jewish tree. So how can it be good and a Jewish tree at the same time? It's not adding up, Muslims. And it says the good land. So that means the Jews must be good, because the Garkat tree, let me highlight it again. The Garkat tree is good according to 58. It's a Jewish tree. It grows from good land. It can't be bad. The tree can't be bad, because trees in Islam, and we're going to show you, they don't have any will to do anything other than submit to Allah. Woo! So this tree is on the side of Allah. But at the same time, it's against the Muslims because it's not bringing about the last hour. Because the whole purpose for the hadith is letting the Muslims know that the last hour will not come until you kill every Muslim. So obviously, the Garkat tree is not on the side of the other trees that are helping the Muslims point out where the Jews are hiding at. Does everybody understand? So that is a contradiction within itself. So the question to the Muslims is, which tree is doing the good deed? Is it the Muslim? Is it the trees that are saying there is a Jew hiding behind me? Or is it the Garkat tree that is not revealing the hiding spot of the Jews, because it is the Jewish tree growing up on Jewish land, which happens to be good land according to what this verse says? Let's highlight it again. And the good land, its vegetation emerges by permission of its Lord. So if the Jews are kafirs, like you Muslims say, then why is Allah allowing this kafir tree to grow up on Jewish land, which gives the land ownership to the Jews? Because you can't say you own land and then at the same time tell me you don't own the trees on the land, Muslims, because the hadith already confirms that this is a Jewish tree growing up on Jewish land, good land, because it emerged from the ground like verse 58 says. Now, we just getting warmed up. But that which is bad, nothing emerges except sparsely, with difficulty. So now, Muslims, you got to ask yourself, if the sparsely is a vegetation, and all vegetation is Muslim, and it worships Allah, if sparsely is vegetation, then Muslims, you got to tell us something. Why does he make the sparsely come up with difficulty? Why is he giving the sparsely a hard time to come up? But the Jewish tree, which comes up easily on good land, he doesn't give it a difficult time. And it's not even one of the trees that will say, there is a Jew behind me, come and kill him. Woo! Does everybody see? Does everybody see why I say Allah is a two-faced God? And let's show you the rest. The reason why he let the tree, the good tree, come up, he says, thus do we diversify the signs for a people who are grateful. So obviously the Jews are grateful. You mean to tell me Allah, the Jews are not grateful, but yet Allah let their tree grow up on the good ground by permission of its Lord? Even though this tree, even though Allah knew that this guard cat tree would not give away the hiding spot of the Jews? Is that what you mean to tell us, Muslims? Allah blessed a tree that will not even help you bring about the last hour. Woo! Does everybody see the disaster? But we just getting started. Getting started. Now, everybody, I want you to direct your attention to this article from IslamQA.com. And the title of this article is The Prostration of Everything in the Universe to Allah. And prostration, for those who don't know, prostration is a form of worship. Okay, we are about to get these Muslims busted. We already have gotten them busted, but right now we just driving the knife in deeper and deeper, and we twisting it around in the gut of the Muslims, because this is about to hurt. It's no way they can get out of this. Okay, the title of this article is the prostration of everything in the universe to Allah. And Islam QA is ran by Sunni Muslims. Muslim cheerleader, he cites references from this particular site on the regular. He has actually used this site against me when he tried to refute me and failed in the past. So all of you little flunky boys of Muslim cheerleader, all you little Muslim cowards, you can't say you don't agree with this site. This is a Sunni. This is not a Shia. This is ran by Sunni Muslim scholars, okay? So as you see, the title for this article is The Prostration of Everything in the Universe to Allah. Now let's see what Islam QA has to say. Let's highlight this verse. We about to give them work. Muslims, y'all about to get this work. You about to get this work. Let's read the following highlighted verse. Surah 17:44. And it says, the heavens, the seven heavens and the earth and all that is therein glorify him, and there is not a thing but it glorifies his praise. But you understand not their glorification. Truly he is ever forbearing and oft forgiven. Now we are about to read the Islam QA interpretation of this verse. What this means is that every created being in a state of submission to Allah is in a state of submission to Allah, like I said earlier, and worships him in a manner appropriate to its situation. The sun, moon, stars, and trees and animals are all in a state of subjugation to Allah and prostrate to him, and all of them worship him in an appropriate manner. Okay? Now, I see a problem because remember earlier we said, how come Allah allowed the Garkat tree to come up without difficulty, and it's a tree of the Jews, but the sparsely, it comes up upon bad land with difficulty. Like it's something wrong with the sparsely. But in this interpretation of the verse we just read, it says that the sun, moon, stars, trees, and animals are all in a state of subjugation to Allah and prostrate to him. So Muslims, answer this question for us. Answer this question, Muslims. If the Jewish tree is in subjugation to Allah and it prostrates to him, then why does it not give away the hiding place of the Jews? Woo! And why, if all of this vegetation, like it says, the sun, moon, stars, trees, if they worship and subjugate themselves to Allah, then why does Allah give the sparsely a difficult time coming up if it is in subjugation to him and if it's prostrating to him? That means it hasn't did anything bad. So why is the sparsely being punished, but the tree of the Jews is allowed to come up and it's blessed with the rain and the ability to grow without difficulty? And this is the tree of the Jews. It's not the tree of the Muslims. But it says that that tree, it must be the tree of Allah as well. Because according to the verse 1744 that they giving you the interpretation of, that tree is in subjugation to Allah. So that means Allah is against the Muslims in the final conflict with the Jews. Because when the Jew runs and hides behind the Garkat tree, Allah, because trees don't have a will other than to worship and to prostrate to Allah, as the interpretation says, all of the trees are in complete subjugation to Allah. So that means Allah is the one behind the Garkat tree not giving up the location of the Jews. So that means Allah is the one who will be protecting the Jews during the conflict to bring about the last hour. That's the definition of being a two-faced God. So the question remains, Muslims, which side is Allah on? Is he on the side of the Jews or is he on the side of the Muslims? Because when you read the Quran, it even tells you Allah said the Jews are his chosen people. He also commands the Jews to drive the Philistines out of the land. And it says he assigned the Holy Land to the Jews. And he even gave them a tree upon the land, the Garkat tree. So the question to you Muslims is, whose side is Allah on? Because these same Jews that you claim were turned to monkeys and rats and pigs and all and lizards and all of this and that, it seems to me Allah is on their side. Because I don't see nowhere in the Quran, I don't see nowhere in the Hadith where Allah has assigned a tree to you Muslims. But he has assigned a tree to the Jews upon their property. So you can't claim land that you don't own. You can't claim land and say you own the land, and at the same time, Garkat trees grow on the land. So therefore, you can't say you own everything because the Garcat trees belong to the Jews. So you don't own the land. The Jews own the land. And the Garcat trees, they've been growing on the land before Muslims even entered into Palestine. So that means the Jews have a right to ownership to that land. Because for all eternity, since Garcat trees been growing in Palestine, those trees belong to the Jews. They already had property on the land, so you can't claim it, Muslims. Woo! You see how I'm using their own book? We using their own book and resources to destroy them. But let's continue. Let's read now Surah 22:18. And it says, See you not that whoever is in the heavens and whoever is on the earth, and the sun, moon, and the stars, and the mountains, and the trees, and add dawab, moving living creatures, beasts, and many of mankind prostrate themselves to Allah. But there are many men on whom the punishment is justified, and whomsoever Allah disgraces, none can honor him. Verily, Allah does what he wills. Allah does what he wills. And then he says, but there are many men. It really doesn't say men in the Arabic. That's why they got those little parentheses around the word men. It says, but there are many men on whom the punishment is justified. But we just asked you, Muslims, what justified the punishment for the sparsely that grows with difficulty? If it is in subjugation to Allah, like the verse says, all of the trees prostrate and they glorify Allah. So what is the justification for the punishment for the sparsely? When the Jewish tree grew up without any punishment. And the Jewish tree is the very tree that will not assist you in the final battle. Woo! None of this makes sense, man. This is crazy. This is crazy. Now let's read 1648 through 49. Have they not observed things that Allah has created, how their shadows incline to the right and to the left, making prostration unto Allah, and they are lowly? And to Allah prostrate all that is in the heavens and all that is in the earth, of the moving creatures and the angels, and they are not proud. They worship their Lord, Allah, with humility. So this verse says everything in the heavens and the earth, they are not proud, and they worship their Lord with humility. But Muslims, hold up. I thought the Garcat tree is a Jew. So how can the Jews be bad if right here is telling you in 1648 through 49 that the trees are not proud and they worship their Lord Allah with humility? So if they worship Allah with humility, all of the trees, no exceptions, then why is the sparsely being punished? And why is the Garcat tree not being punished? And it's the one not giving away the location of the Jews, helping save them from punishment, from jihad. So obviously, helping Jews is a sign of humility and worship to Allah. Woo, boy, because it says, and to Allah prostrate all that is in the heavens and the earth, of the moving living creatures and the angels, and they are not proud. They worship their Lord with humility. Trees cannot make a mistake, Muslims. So that means the Garkat tree, which is protecting the Jews, is doing a good deed unto Allah, a form of worship that Allah accepts, and it is a form of humility. So by the Garkat trees not giving away the location of the Jews that hides behind them, that is a form of worship. Woo! And that means they are doing a good deed. So the question, Muslims, which tree is right or wrong? Which ones are doing a good deed? Is it the one? So obviously they both doing a good deed. By helping the Muslims kill a Jew is a good deed. By not helping the Muslims kill a Jew is a good deed. Because trees can't make mistakes when it comes to worshiping Allah. As we showed you, they are in complete subjugation to the will of Allah. And he blessed the Garkat tree, but he cursed the sparsely. Woo! Okay, let's continue. This is totally devastating. And let's show you something else that don't make sense. We already did a video about getting the Muslims busted. We did a video about Allah saying shadows prostrate. But this right here, let me show you the part that doesn't make sense. It says, have they not observed things that Allah has created, how their shadows incline? Let's show you, Muslims. This don't make sense. How their shadows incline to the right and to the left. That does not make sense. Let me tell y'all something. A shadow does not move. See, what actually happens is when someone is standing and a light is shining behind them or in front of them, the only thing that's taking place is the person themselves or the object is blocking the light from being exposed on the ground in front of or behind the person or the object. So a shadow is nothing but a dark area. A shadow itself is not moving. It's not moving forward or left. A shadow is a dark area. A shadow is not demonstrating humility, morality, prostration. It's not doing any of that because it doesn't have a soul, and only a souled being can have a inclination or a consciousness to express morality and humility. A dark area does not express humility. It doesn't prostrate. It does none of that. It doesn't move. What actually happens is, for an example, if I move from point A to point B, the shadow didn't move. I moved from point A and created a dark area by my body blocking the light when I moved to point B. So by me moving from point A to point B, the shadow didn't move anywhere. I moved. And the only thing I did, I just blocked the light from being exposed on point B. If I move to point C, I will do the same thing, and so forth and so on. It's not like the darkness is moving. No, it's me moving from point to point to point, causing the light's ability to be not exposed upon the ground. That's the only thing that's happening. It's not like, so this is silly right here, what we're reading. Okay, I just had to point that out because that's just stupid. So the Muslims want to argue with that, then be stupid and try to make it. That's just dumb. That's stupid. Now let's read what Ibn Kathir had to say about the verse that we just read. And this is who Muslims revere as one of their top scholars, Ibn Kathir. Now, Imam Ibn Kathir said, Allah is telling us of his might, majesty, and pride, for everything submits to him, and all things and creatures humble themselves before him. Inanimate objects and animals, and those which are accountable among mankind and the jinn and the angels, Allah tells us that everything that has a shadow that inclines towards the right and towards the left, morning and evening, prostrates to Allah. Mujahid said, when the sun passes its zenith, everything prostrates to Allah. Okay? Now, this is absolutely ridiculous, everyone. Now, let me tell you why. Look what Ibn Kathir said. He said, all things and creatures humble themselves before him. Inanimate objects? Oh my gosh. People, this is sad, man. This is sad. Do you know what an inanimate object means? The very word tells you that it is dead. It's not animated. Therefore, it is an inanimate object. If I placed a plastic cup on a table, that plastic cup has no life. It can't do anything. It doesn't think. It can't speak. It is inanimate. But this nut, Ibn Kathir, says that this inanimate object humbles itself. How can a cup, a plastic cup, humble itself? But you know what? This is the type of stuff, this is what the Muslims believe in, everyone. Welcome to Islam. I'm just Brother Jacob giving you Islam 101. This is what they die by. This is what they will argue tooth and nail to defend. They will come all up in my comment section to defend stupidity like a plastic cup knows what humility is. A plastic cup. So I guess a rubber band, Muslims, when you snap a rubber band and you pop it, I guess that's the rubber band's way of worshiping Allah. Woo! This is Islam, everyone. So you got to understand that when you're dealing with these Muslims, you have to understand, you got to have a lot of patience, because this is the type of things that they are drilled to believe from a child coming up in the masjid. This is what they are trained to believe. And they are taught to believe that you don't question stupidity. You throw your brain away in the garbage can and you just absorb all of the stupidity that Ibn Kathir says, like an inanimate object is worshiping. He says it himself that the object is inanimate. He didn't say a living object. He said an inanimate object. So Muslims will destroy the meanings of words, as you just observed Ibn Kathir do. Why did he use the word inanimate and then come around and tell us that the inanimate object humbles itself, when the very word inanimate means dead? It doesn't have a conscience. It doesn't have the ability to humble itself. So why would you use a word that defines not having the ability to humble itself as something that humbles itself? But y'all got to ask the Muslims that. They the ones who think with that type of irrational thinking process, not Brother Jacob. And then they get upset when you expose the stupidity of Islam. And then they'll keep coming back in my comment section, writing trying to argue. And you know what? And I'm about to end this video. We've proven our point that Palestine belongs to the Jews. We've shown you the contradiction. So now these are the closing statements. You see, these Muslims, they in a tight position. Like, they have to know that this stuff is stupid. But you see, Islam, it thrives off of intimidation and threatening people. They are threatened that if you leave Islam, we're going to kill you. You see, they are told that you got to accept every foolish thing no matter what, because Allah knows best. You know how they always say, and Allah knows best? I bet you they even said it at the end of this article. I bet you. You see? Look, that's their favorite line, and Allah knows best. So that's how Muslims think, and that's how they operate. Allah knows best. Yeah, what you're saying, Brother Jacob, makes sense, but Allah knows best. Yeah, what you're saying, an inanimate object does not have the ability to be humble. An inanimate object, it doesn't even know that it exists. So how can it humble itself? You see, a shadow doesn't even know it exists. So how can it humble itself? How is it prostrating? How is it worshiping? But these are the questions that the Muslims have to figure out for themselves. We just showing you the stupidity in Islam, okay? No one could convince me to become a Muslim because I'm too intelligent to be a Muslim. To be a Muslim, you have to be very stupid and unintelligent. There's no excuse for being a Muslim. They couldn't put a gun to my head and make me convert to Islam. So I don't understand how people, I get it though in some regards, because if you're from a Muslim country like Muslim cheerleader and all your life, you've been programmed with this type of philosophy, it gets to the point where you don't really believe it, but it's a part of your culture. So for them, like Muslims, like Muslim cheerleader, he knows, like when he listens to this video, he knows that everything that I'm saying is right. But he's from Saudi Arabia. He speaks Arabic. He wears the little turban all his life. That's all he knows. His family, they would probably disown him if he left Islam. So, but here's the thing. Muslims were not the only Arabs. There were Arabs who were not Muslims. So in a way, I understand it, but also in a way, there is no excuse. Because you had Jews that were Arabs during the time of Muhammad. You had Christians who were Arabs during the time of Muhammad. So for a Muslim, some Arabs, they want to hold on to, their culture, the language, and the tradition. And they proud that they have a prophet to say came from them like Muhammad. So I understand why they want to challenge people like Brother Jacob, because it's a part of their tradition. But at the same token, it's no excuse to be stupid. There is no excuse for stupidity. If you keep bumping your head on the wall and you think I'm going to come help you and you think I'm going to bring you an ice pack, every time you bump your head on the wall and a knot forms on your forehead, I'm not going to keep bringing you an ice pack because you being stupid. So the Muslims who continue to practice Islam, they being stupid. You can't help a person who don't want to be helped. And with that, I'm about to end this video. Muslims, Christians alike, leave your comments in the comment section below. Muslims, there is no refuting this. We have proven that Allah himself confirms that Palestine belongs to the Jews. And with that, this is Brother Jacob signing out. And this is the False Prophet channel, where we get Islam destroyed and the false prophet of Islam, Muhammad, destroyed on a regular basis. Like, share.